Need motivation?
Watch the top 10 of Believe Nation because I love it.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like na na na. For my top 10, top 10, top 10, na na na. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because chances are you are the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Brendon Burchard, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Work on your dream daily.
The first lesson today in about sort of having patience for your dream is you have to work on it every single day for at least 30 minutes, or don't fool yourself that it's going to happen. You know, we all hope that one day we'll get a bunch of free weekends or a month off or 3 months off, and that's when we'll finally start working towards our thing. You got to do it every day. Where that means you research every day, you read every day, you study every day, you take a course every day, or you actually create everything on that thing every day. You're just working at it. Book authors, they write every day. Not all of them, but a lot of the greats wrote every single day, right? And it's just forcing ourselves to really be in the game. Now, not everybody writes every day. Not everyone needs to create every day. Some people can just have a marvelous 18 days and they've written the greatest book of all time, but that rarely happens. It rarely happens. And those folks tend to be like masters or savants or geniuses. Regular folks, myself included, I got to work every day towards my dreams. Every day I honed in something about this. And if you didn't know something about me, I do everything in this business, right? I'm shooting this video right now, but I mean, I picked the materials for this thing. I chose the fonts. I designed all the pages. I mean, I wrote the back cover, the front cover, the inside stuff. It's like I do the projects of my dreams. And that's what keeps me creatively fired up and engaged, you know?
Rule number 2, let go.
Let go of the baggage. You're never going to touch the full rim of your potential if you're weighted down by baggage from your elementary school years, your high school years, your college years, these last 4 years. Listen, the last chapters of the book, you gone through them. You finished them. You flipped the page. You got a new chapter here. And you have to be willing to break from the past to have the future you so desperately desire. You have to have the courage to allow yourself to honor the past as it was, to forgive those who need to be forgiven, to forgive yourself, and to acknowledge that everything led you to this point now. Everything. Those crappy times, those times when you're depressed, those times when you gave up on yourself, those times when someone else gave up on you, those times that you gave up on others, the times that you quit, the times that you failed, the times that you felt so small, you were embarrassed, those times don't live in this moment. And the more of those times that you cultivate in your mind and you ruminate on and you think and you self-talk on and you revisit in your mind, the more disempowering times from the past, hurtful times from the past, failures from the past, that you keep running in your head, what that is doing is that is taking up the very free space necessary for the bold ideas to come in. It's taking up the space for the very needed white space for creativity to come in, for the dreams to come in, for the best you to speak through from. Like, it's hard for you to live an authentic and true and vulnerable and real life if you're always speaking through your baggage, if you're always thinking through your baggage. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, everyone's got different baggage. Maybe your baggage is your divorce or that last job. They are not relevant today. And the only reason they're relevant today is if either you allow them to be relevant from those situations or those persons revisiting you, or you're running the same old story. You're running the same old excuses. Yeah, I can't do this because I suck at relationships. No, you sucked at relationships 10 years ago. Well, I can't do this because, I failed. Yeah, 6 months ago. Today's a new day, homie. Like, you got to access this day, dude. This day is fresh. This day is clean. This day woke up, showered, ready, prepped for you by the universe or spirit or God or luck or cosmos, whatever you want to call it. This day says to you, when you wake up in the morning, the day whispers to you, do not fear me, for I have been brought here for you. You don't fear the day. That day has been brought here for you.
Rule number 3, know other people's goals.
You never know a person if you don't know their goals. And if you don't know their goals, you're never going to be a great friend. You'll never be their great lover, their great supporter, their great family member. And it's weird though, because most people actually don't know other people's goals. I'll ask family members to say, what's your sister's goals? And she wants to be a dancer. Okay, what kind of dancer? When? What does she want to do with that career? Is it short term? Is it long term? Like, you have to really get into people's goals to understand their heart. And so that's what I want you to do is if you want to be a great spouse to somebody, you got to re-engage and say, hey, what do you want at this stage of your life? Because I know what you used to want, then we had kids, but where are you at now? You got to get in that conversation with your partner and say, hey, listen, I know we've been through a couple of weird months where we just haven't really felt each other out. It's like, let's just do some personal development. Like, what do you really want to do right now at this stage of your life? Because you have to understand, when I say this stage of your life, that's very specific. Meaning a lot of people's goals change. And it changes like every 3 months, every year, every 3 years. So if you haven't had the conversation with the important people in your life recently about what your goals are and about what their goals are, then I'm telling you, you're just skimming at the surface. Because if you don't support other people's dreams, how can you ever have a deep relationship with them? And if you don't share your dreams and your heart and your desire with other people, how can they possibly help you meet that hunger? How can they possibly help you become the best version of you if you haven't shared it? So you also have to be very honest with what's your real thoughts, what's your real feelings, what's your real dreams, what do you really want at this stage of your life with all the important people around you. It's one of my favorite things to do with high performers to say, okay, do all the people around you know what you really want right now? Are they clear on what your goals are? Are they clear about how they can support that or how much you want them to be involved in it? It's like a lot of people start their own business, but they don't tell the other people around them what that business is, what it requires, how they love their support. And so we all go it alone. And isn't going it alone the opposite of having healthy, supportive relationships? So first thing you gotta do, if you want better relationships, get to know other people's goals.
Rule number 4, hire faster.
Many of you've been waiting to hire that first virtual assistant or that person to help you at the house so you can focus on your business, who can support you with the kids, or somebody who can, come in and help just clean the house. Some of you have been waiting to hire that manager, that COO, that CEO, and I'm here to tell you, do it. Like, set your Q1 goals of 2019 to hire the team that you need. Don't finish Q1 without the team that you need in place, trained, and going. For some of you, that might be 100 employees. Some of you, that's 10. I don't know what your situation is, but I'm here to tell you, hire sooner, hire better. My friend Evan Carmichael's book, listen, humans are built to serve. Some people are built to serve the world. Others want to serve the 25 people closest to them. But in either case, humans are built to serve. So if you're not happy right now, it's because you're not serving enough. You got to pick up this book because it's so inspiring to remind you that we're all here to contribute, to make a difference, to make an impact, and this is your field guide for that.
Rule number 5, live your intentions.
If you want to deal with self-doubt, you absolutely must start entering each day as more intentional of a human. Because the issue is, one of the reasons we doubt ourselves is because we're just all over the place. Sometimes you're cool in this situation, but you're dumb in that situation. Sometimes you don't do well here, but you do well here. And what happens is so many people, they're going through the motions or they're just showing up in life every single day and they're reacting. And because they're always reacting, they don't have a character. They haven't determined, who am I really? Who am I gonna act like in this situation? Who am I gonna behave like in this situation? How am I gonna treat people in this situation? Because they haven't shown up intentional enough and sought to live out that intention, they feel a lot of discord in life. Like they don't know who they are because they just keep showing up and reacting to what's there. But guess what? What's there is always different. The world is always changing, people are always changing, situations are always changing. So if all you're ever doing is showing up and reacting, I guess I'll just go through it and see how it goes, you're never forming an intentional character. So of course you doubt yourself because every situation is different and you can never have certainty in that. But you can have strength inside if from now on you wake up every day and you say, okay, I'm gonna be these 3 words today. And you just set the words. You say, okay, I'm gonna be fun, I'm gonna be playful, I'm gonna be kind. And that day you are fun, playful, and kind. And the next day you say, okay, I'm gonna be patient today, I'm gonna be thoughtful, and I'm gonna be appreciative. And you're patient, thoughtful, and appreciative. You do that over and over and over again. Set an intention for who to be that. Set an intention, be that. Set an intention, be that. And you do that in more situations in your life, and more days, and more weeks, and more months, and more years. And one day you wake up and you're confident in self because you know that you can direct your mind and your emotions and your body to be the person who you really want to be. The more often you do that, the more real, genuine self-confidence will come into your life.
Rule number 6, practice visualization.
The most important thing, I know this sounds so silly, but common sense is not always common practice, and that's why so many potentially great people fail to ever achieve their potential. And that's this. Listen, you have to get your visualization game down. Visualization, that means, listen, when I wake up, when I got a dream, I wake up in the morning, before I get out of bed, I close my eyes and I just see it happening a little bit. And I'll lay in bed and let my mind and my body stir up a little bit of excitement or sometimes even anxiety about seeing the actual thing that I want happen. That was for me at one part of my life, seeing myself on stages, speaking and training to people. One part of my life, it was seeing my book come out and seeing it on the New York Times bestseller list or seeing it on the Amazon bestseller list. It was sometimes seeing myself coaching major celebrities or sitting side by side with an Oprah Winfrey or a Tony Robbins or a Larry King, all of which I've been able to do. It was because I visualized what I really wanted. But here's the thing, it's not just visualization. That's like the first part. It's also affect. We talk about in high performance and in psychology about this thing called affect, which is basically feelings and emotions. I want you to allow yourself to literally not just kind of casually see it, like put yourself there and feel it and sense it and see it and feel it and drink it in, like really take in the ambiance, the circumstance, like really visualize and feel what you are seeing. That's so key. I mean, as silly as this is, I literally would lay there and I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna fill out the ideal thing in the morning, what questions would I ask to really get it going? I just start literally seeing myself at my desk in the morning, filling out the high performance planner, thinking about other people worldwide filling out at the same time as me, and knowing that I got this tribe of people on this path of trying to be their best with me, and imagining people coming up and goes, oh my gosh, Brendon, you completely changed my morning. You completely changed my weekly routine. You completely changed my life because I'd never tracked my habits before. I'd never assessed my balance every single week between family, friends, work, finances, adventure, learning, etc. Everything, every tool that we put in here, I could just imagine someone come up and saying, Brendon, I really appreciate that part. And I literally just thought about it because I wanted it to feel like, I was excited for the project. Otherwise, look how easy it is to diminish anything in our lives. Well, it's just a book, it's just a planner, it's just a video, it's just a cosmetic line, it's just a beauty thing, it's just a that. Like we all diminish our dreams, we make excuses, and we make our dreams like, we throw it away because we're scared to feel it. You know what I'm saying? It's easier to just throw it away, it's no big deal, avoid it, no problem. And we mess up. I want you to feel it. Stop detaching from your dreams. Stop avoiding that anxious, scary feeling of thinking how hard it's going to be and thinking how great it's going to be. Because most people they don't want to even think about it because it causes too much nerves. I'm like, dance in those nerves a little bit. Let them come up for you because that's fuel, man. That's fuel. It's like Les Brown taught us, you got to be hungry. You'll never be hungry if you don't visualize it, see it, feel it, and want it.
Rule number 7, take care of your health.
I've always really worked extremely hard to maintain an incredible level of energy in my mental body, in my mental, emotional, physical, spiritual being, just trying to do everything I can, from the way that I work out, to what I consume, to what I don't consume, to how I rest, to how I meditate, to how I recover. Like everything in my life has always been about how do I bring the joy? And if I'm going to generate the energy I want to create for you guys, how do I do that specifically? Well, I've always got these routines and everything else, but what happened this year, I was kind of had my health taken away a little bit. In mid-October, I got pneumonia and tonsillitis at the same time while I was on the road doing multiple 4-day and multiple 5-day events where I'm kind of the lead trainer. And that kicked my butt, and I'm still honestly recovering from it. Like I'm still feeling it. I'm still feeling it heading into the final part of this year. I'm still recovering. Don't worry, clean bill of health. Doctors like, you're good to go. They're just, your body's gonna be recovering. You're gonna be tired for a while. And I made it 41, 42 years without feeling fatigue outside of times of injury. You know, I don't think I've ever had the flu. I don't really ever get sick. When I get sick, it's like sniffles. But this one was something, it just smacked me. I mean, I was down and out. It's why I feel like I'm way behind on my episodes for you all. It's why I feel like we're launching a few things in January that I'd hoped to launch in, October. So that, like, taking care of my health has always been a priority. This year, I learned what it feels like when it's gone. And many have been with me for a long time. That happened in 2011 when I had my brain injury and I snapped my wrist and my ribs and my hip. So I'm not, new to pain. I'm not new to being sick. But this was the first time where I also, with the sickness, lost motivation. Where it was like, even when I had when I was really sick in the past of my life, I would still wake up in the day and I'd prime my mind, get excited about what's to come, and just go. This year, there was about the last 2 months, I really had to work on that. And there were plenty of days I was just like, ugh. Not because I didn't love my life or I wasn't grateful or present. You've been there before. Like when you physically feel terrible, it is hard to get your mind right.
Rule number 8, build a plan.
A lot of people have self-doubt in their lives because they don't have clarity for what they want. A lot of people wander in a situation and they have a lot of self-doubt because they didn't sit down and plan it out. They didn't prepare. They didn't ask mentors or model others or do the research to figure out, okay, I should do A, B, C, D, and E. In other words, if you don't know the steps to success, of course you'll have more self-doubt. If you don't have the plan, if you don't have the map, if you don't know what you're doing, of course you're gonna have more self-doubt. So part of it is just decide to build a plan. Even if you have to ask for help and say, hey guys, how would you do this? What would be your first step? What would be your second step? I'm always asking that. Even at this stage of my career, I'm still saying, hey guys, if you're gonna launch this, how would you do it? If you're gonna promote that, how would you do it? If you're gonna create this thing, how would you do it? If you're gonna build this team or build that business, what would you do? And I always try to get the map before I enter the woods, so that I have the steps, I know the path. Because if you can remove the doubt about the path, you'll have more confidence in yourself.
Rule number 9, want it.
I really believe most people are terrified of embarrassment. They might call it something else, but they're scared of embarrassment. I just put this video out where it starts for the first line is, you're not scared to start your dream, you're embarrassed to be seen starting small. And it just blew up on social media for us. I think I got more direct messages on that one little post than anything I've ever done. And people really resonated with it. And because if you think about the truth about it is, that's what it is for a lot of people. If they quit their job and they go to start something new, they don't want all their former, people to see them doing something that looks new and fresh and maybe ugly or not put together. They're scared to be embarrassed and have other people judge them. They're scared they might use different language. Well, they might say, well, I'm just fearful. But if you really dig down the fearful, most people are just scared to be embarrassed. They're scared to try something and obviously fail at it. And the perception of that failure really shuts them down. So we have to ask different questions. And I ask this all the time. I literally use the word embarrassment. I said, listen, I'll say something like, are you not going to try this? Before we even get to this, you can see it, you made it happen. Are you not going to try it because you're scared of what somebody else might think? Are you not going to try it because you're scared of what somebody else might think? I ask that all the time. And almost all the time, people go, well, I'm not scared, but, I'm worried what my spouse will think. Oh, I'm not scared, but yeah, people at work might think I'm a little crazy. And I'll explore that with them, because if we can't get them over that line of embarrassment and the willingness for trial and error, we won't get them to do anything. And so my way through embarrassment for me is two different ways, just depending on who the person is. When I hear that someone might be embarrassed to do something, I'll often start with that past attempt conversation. Well, have you tried something like this before and people were horrible to you? And they're always like, well, no, I've never tried this before. Oh, I'll say, so you're making an assumption that you'd feel uncomfortable. But then I also want to give them permission of like, is this dream worth having a few people think you're crazy? Is this dream worth having a few people think you're crazy? And I'll open up that dialogue. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, who might think you're crazy? Well, my spouse is going to think I'm crazy. Cool. How are they going to communicate that to you? Well, they're going to call me stupid. Have they ever called you stupid before? Well, no. Or yes, they have. I say, okay. So do you survived it last time they called you stupid? Would it be worth surviving it again if they call you stupid? If you felt better because you actually got momentum towards something that matters to you? Like, oh, yeah. And listen, knowing that a big frame here in helping people get over excuses is getting them tied back to, is what they are after important? I brought that up earlier. How important is this to you? Do you really want this? Well, if you said that's important, isn't it worth a little discomfort? Haven't you been discomforted before? Haven't you felt judged and stupid before? Okay, so you know you'll survive that. Now the question is about survival, right? And they'll say, yeah, it's not about survival. I say, great. The question is about survival. Sounds to me like the real question is whether you want it. We know you'll survive. I'm curious, if we know you'll survive, what will it feel like if you're thriving? Would it be worthwhile to have a few doubters or to look stupid or to be seen as silly if you woke up energized by what you were doing? Would that be worth it?
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is honor the struggle.
Honor the struggle. Like so many people bemoan the hardship and they hate it. And I would say, anything you apply hate to quickly dies. You got a dream and you're hating the process. You apply hate to the process, the dream's going to die. It's like, don't, be very careful of what you put hate or things to. And most people do that with hardship. And I've always seen hardship as like, I'm going to honor this process. It's sort of a samurai mentality. It's like, I'm going to honor that this is difficult because that is precisely what's needed.
Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video? And what is your plan of action that you're going to execute this week to make some immediate momentum happen? When you just get motivated and watch a video, you have a 35% chance of following through. That's what the science says. But when you write down what time, what day, what place you're actually going to execute, when you create the plan, you have a 91% chance of following through. And I want that for you. And when you commit to people publicly, you increase your chances even more of actually doing it. So I want to know what your single biggest takeaway from this video was and your specific plan of action to actually get the result you're after. Let me know. Put it down in the comments below because I want to celebrate you.
You have to reframe confidence. A lot of people say, well, Brendon, I'm just not confident. I wish I was more confident. I wish I had more fire. I wish I believed in myself more. It's my doubt. I always worry about myself. I never believe in myself. I'm always selling myself short. And I always never give myself credit. I just quit. And maybe, but I think what happens for a lot of people is they just never really learn what real confidence is. It's like they're not necessarily without each other. It's not like they're necessarily mutually exclusive, right? It's like sometimes the truth is you can be confident but still have doubts about capabilities.